Welcome back to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off. I'm Matt, and I'm flying solo. Paige is doing great. She is doing the very thing that she preaches to everyone all the time, and that's focusing on herself, and she's looking inward, and she's working on creating boundaries with social media and all kinds of other stuff that have been driving her crazy, and I think it's amazing, and she's walking the walk right now. She sends her love. I promise you, she'll be back, but she sends her love. Wanted me to let everyone know she loves you guys, and good luck to me today as I deal with this solo episode, part 2 of our first episode about the most common questions that I get from generally women, from wives and girlfriends and fiancés and the such, and actually some questions from guys as well. And we really do appreciate the questions. And if you've ever wanted to ask us a question and have an episode based on your question, all you have to do is click the episode description and you'll see a little button there where you can click and you can text us a suggestion. Know, though, that we cannot reply to these things. We don't see who they come from. We have no clue. It's just a question that pops up in our fan mail. No email address, no nothing. So if you're asking for advice, we generally don't give that anyway, but it's a one-way street on that. We can't reply back if you wanted to. But episode suggestions, we would really appreciate those. That's how episodes like this are possible. Hey, Soberlink has a new offer. For the last, 7-8 months, they've been offering you 50% off a device. And that's 50% off the upfront cost of that device. But Soberlink, there are 2 components. There's the device cost, and there's sort of the monthly plan cost. It's sort of like your cell phone, right? You go up and you get your cell phone, and you have a monthly cost for your plan. Now, Soberlink has recognized that they are losing customers that they would otherwise have to much more inferior competitors, like the drugstore breathalyzers and the ones off of Amazon that are far inferior. Listen, they don't have facial recognition technology. They don't have real-time reporting. They don't have an accountability system that gets messaged instantly every time you use a device. They don't have tamper-proof technology, and they don't prevent arguments about whether or not we're going to use the device because, remember, you signed up for the device. So what are they doing? Something I thought was pretty awesome. I actually had to email them and ask, are you serious? Is this real? And then in my mind, I'm thinking, how are they even going to make money off of this? There are no more upfront costs for devices. So our old 50% off offer is no longer. What you get now is a $100 rebate off of your monthly plan. And if you sign up for 1 year, your device cost is only $19.99 a month. That's it. $19.99 a month. No more big upfront cost. Because let's be honest, a lot of times when there's addiction present, finances aren't in the best order. I know ours weren't. We were broke with the capital B. Bad broke. I was not being fiscally responsible. If you sign up for 120 days, so this is 4 months, your device price only goes up to $29 a month, and then you return it at the end. Their thought was, who keeps these things for 5 or 6 years? I mean, you guess you could, right? And if in that case, I would suggest you buy a device. But if you're only going to keep it to establish some trust and some accountability back until you get your feet under you, these 1-year plans are amazing. I think 1 year, for me anyway, is kind of the benchmark for, okay, I really have got it now. I think it took me about 9 months to get my sea legs to where I felt really comfortable. I could go out and about and I wasn't like triggered by everything. About 9 months. And that was like really intensely working this thing. I think 4 months might be a little short, but hey, you be the judge, you decide. But they're giving you the option to do that. So you get no upfront costs, and then you get a $100 Visa gift card rebate off of your monthly plan cost. They've got 3 different plans. You can check out what those look like and the different features that they offer. But the one I mentioned where you've got Soberlink's tamper-proof technology, you've got the facial recognition technology. This is just built into all the devices. Everything else is going to be data and reporting and the amount of people that you add to your accountability circle. So remember, Soberlink is not just a breathalyzer. If it was just that, probably wouldn't have them as a partner on the show. It's much more than that. It is an accountability device. This is a gift that you give your loved ones. If you're someone like me, when your words are no longer meaningful. I promised all kinds of crap over the years. I'll be different. I'll change. I won't drink on the weekdays anymore, only the weekends. I tried it all. And I'd broken every single promise until she eventually got so fed up, my words were meaningless. I had to walk the walk. So if you're serious this time, you know what can be different? Because I always ask people that, what's different this time? Soberlink can be different. Put your money where your mouth is and get a device, which is really a gift to your loved ones, but it's also going to help you too because it keeps you accountable. You set up a network of people that get notified every time you use the device, so they know that you're walking the walk. And not only is there that extra layer of accountability as you're thinking, should I drink today? No, because Jerry's going to know, and my wife is going to know, and our counselor, our lawyer, whoever is going to know. That's going to be there to guard against it. But on the other side, you've got people who are rooting for you. Dude, congratulations. I'm proud of you. I love you. Let me know what I can do to help you and support you. You get those texts. When's the last time someone was actually in your corner, right? Give people a reason to root for you and root for yourself. Put this added layer of accountability in your life and get a Soberlink today. Hey, and also if you're just at the point where you're like, listen, dude, I hear you. And maybe at one time in my life that would have worked, but I'm just trying to keep my kids safe now. Soberlink is there for you in those moments as well. They are court admissible in all 50 states and in Canada and considered the gold standard in court. Hundreds of thousands of people trust this thing every single day. Courts know about it. Family courts especially, judges, lawyers, they all know. You can get these written into your custody agreements. So if you want to just make sure your kids are going somewhere safe where there's a sober parent around, get you a Soberlink today. You can go to soberlink.com/wheels to learn more and to take advantage of this new offer. Remember, rental plans, $100 rebate on your monthly plan. Just go to soberlink.com/wheels. So support the companies that support our show and make all of this possible. Support Soberlink today. Hey, and while we're here on the ad stuff, we've also got a course, Independently Strong. If you've never heard about Independently Strong, it is the course that we built with a licensed therapist, Dr. Christopher Taylor, to help spouses and partners reclaim their lives. There are so many resources out there for guys like me. Spouses and partners have very few, and there are none like ours. Ours is amazing. It helps you reclaim your life, live by your values, teaches you how to set boundaries, kind of walks you into the conversation about when do you stay and when do you go. Now, we're not going to make any decisions for you, but what we will do is prepare you to make decisions that come from a place of confidence instead of fear. You'll know the right thing. Maybe not right away, but you will, because you're also going to be surrounded by other people that are doing it. There's an online component of this community within our course provider, and there's also a digital one. We get together on Zoom once a week, and it's a very secure room. You don't have to have your camera on or anything like that, and you get FaceTime with me and Paige a lot of the time, and other wheelies who are going through it, really working this stuff, and they are the healthiest of them all. They're amazing. If you want to be part of that, you can get 75% off by going to our website, twfo.com, clicking on programs, entering the code Wheelies75 at checkout. That's again, Wheelies75 at checkout. While you're over there, grab a recovery rock. We send these things all over the world. It's so cool. We sent one to I can't remember, Faroe Islands maybe, which I thought was amazing. I'd only ever heard about this on Nat Geo, but got listeners all over the place, and it's amazing. People are honoring their spouse or partner's journey with them through recovery. It's a really cool way to acknowledge it. Guys like me are always getting congrats. Hey man, good job, good job, good job. And it always felt kind of icky because it wasn't just me. It was her, my wife, every bit of the way. She was there every step of the way. You have no clue what she went through. And so until we, TUFO, get the world on that page, the very least you could do is honor that with a recovery rock. I don't have one right in front of me. I think I dropped it somewhere. It's got our logo on the front. On the back, it says, "Thank you for being our rock." We've also got sweatshirts and T-shirts and stickers. Put them on your water bottles. I need a new one. That was a little rubbed up. Again, if you want to support the show, it's a great way to do it. Let's get this going. This is part 2 of my last episode. Some of the most commonly asked questions that I get from spouses and partners. And again, these are from men as well. We're going to kind of touch all over the place, but women ask me all the time, what's going on in his head. And I just need to be clear about this again. I'm not your husband or your boyfriend or your fiance. I'm not. And maybe I'm not even a good cross section of them. What I am is I'm someone who's been there before, and I'm someone who's been through this with a ton of people. And I have a lot of conversations with people. I consume a ton of content. I think I'm a pretty good proxy for information when it comes to this, but I will not be 100% accurate. And some of this stuff may not apply. And you might say, well, what about this situation or that situation? It may not apply. I'm just being transparent here. I'll do my best. I'll give you my thoughts at the very least for whatever that's worth. But Paige talks about this all the time. She's always said that she gets along with guys better than girls. And she says it's because guys are just less complicated. And is that fair? I don't know. Maybe. I tend to agree with her in some ways. What I think that she means, or what most people mean about this, is that guys typically aren't thinking about things as deeply as you might. That would be my guess. Overthinkers, not so much in the male category. Man, it's not generally as deep as I think most people suspect it is. Like a lot of the questions we'll get, like someone has thought long and hard about like the singular action that someone has done. Like maybe, let's say they've come home late after they were asked not to. It's like, did he mean to do this? Did he come home and like as a sign? Was he trying to send me a signal? Probably not. Just probably not. We don't think that hard about shit. We just do what feels good. Kind of like, it's simpler than you think. And that might be more frustrating actually, because it's like, are y'all really just like that dumb? I'm not sure if dumb, but careless for sure. We are definitely that careless. 1,000% that careless. And listen, I'm not here to excuse anyone's bad behavior or hand out like participation trophies. There should be a higher standard than that. Okay. Fair. 100% fair. But I'm just telling you, I just don't ever really think that it's as deep as y'all think it is with guys in general. Now, when it comes to addiction, it does get a little more complex, right? We have a substance that is acting on the brain and generally is pulling someone in a direction that seems insane, absolutely insane. Like, why would someone make that decision? Well, it's a few things, really. I am absolutely convinced that there is a selfish component to addiction. People can fight me all day on that, and that's fine. I never said you didn't have reasons for doing the things you do, but it doesn't mean it's not selfish. Selfish definition means lack of consideration for others, showing a lack of consideration for others. And by definition, addiction is that, okay? I get these bleeding heart. What about their trauma? Addicts have trouble too. I know, but it doesn't mean their actions aren't selfish. They are what they are, okay? So there's a selfish component. There's also this substance that's kind of pulling someone in that direction because the reward centers of their mind have been rewired. And that sort of takes precedent over everything else, like everything, like even food and water and things like that. So you'll do some crazy shit. But I think what I'd like to get to here is some of the things that I wish women knew about men in addiction or early recovery. I think kind of alluded to it there in the beginning is I don't think that you can really logic or reason through this stuff. I think the harder you try, the more crazy you will go thinking about why someone did what they did. I think you can try to logic through it, but what you're going to get is when you try to logic and reason through this, you are going to make decisions based on ration. You're going to be thinking in a healthy manner about why someone did A that led to B and C. And why would they do that if they know that it affects other people and it affects the bank account and it affects your children and everything else? When people are lost in addiction, they generally don't have what I just call it a guilt filter. I'm sure that some PhDs got a real name for this, but there's a difference in guilt and shame, because guilt is saying, I feel badly that I did a bad thing. I won't do that again. It's sort of it's a mechanism to not do something wrong, right? It's like we feel guilty. It's like, oh, I hurt someone else and that just doesn't feel good. And that's sort of like nature's way of saying, like, let's not do that again. That didn't feel good, did it? And then there's shame, which is much nastier, because shame is not just saying I did a bad thing. It's saying I am the bad thing. I am a bad person that does bad things. You sort of tie your worth to it, and you don't have a filter to kind of say, okay, I'm not a bad person. And so when people who are struggling with addiction feel shame, it just spirals, right? The more shame they feel, the more they use their substance, which causes more problems, which causes shame, which causes more problems, which causes more drinking or drugging and causes shame. And it's just this nasty spiral, man. And it's almost impossible to stop. I think that boundaries are the real way to get through this. It's action, right? You're not going to be able to have these frothy emotional conversations about, hey, you're hurting me and us. And like, what about the kids and like your job? Like your boss is going to fire you any day. Like, don't you care? That is a normal conversation you can have with a rational person, but someone who's stuck in addiction is just going to hear, I'm the worst. I suck. I don't deserve to live. Everyone just be better off without me. And that's where things usually go. If you're really trying to get through to someone, I think you have to accept a few things, is that you're not going to logic them through this. Boundaries and action are the real effective way to show someone that their actions are not okay. It's boundaries. And if you don't know what boundaries are or how to go about that, our course walks you through this, but also we did a 3-part series totally free on the podcast quite some time ago, but it's like boundaries parts 1, 2, and 3. Talks about like what are boundaries, like where do they come from? How do you know how to set them? They're based on values. Okay, what are my values? How do I identify those? Okay, what's a boundary versus a rule? You know, what's a boundary versus an ultimatum? Sometimes boundaries can be ultimatums, sort of. But I think that the best way I've ever heard this put, I don't remember, I cannot credit the creator that said this because I just don't remember her name, but this is not mine. I just want you to know that. She said, a boundary is something that you tell someone that you are going to do and they change absolutely nothing. I think that is the simplest, most quintessential definition of what a boundary is. And that's what's tough about boundaries, is that I think most of the time spouses and partners are trying to influence people to change one way or another. And that's sort of what we're getting at here. I think people misunderstand that you can sort of just rationalize with people. Just rationalize with them. Just talk to them harder. Just have call them an asshole one more time. Lock them out of the house. Make them sleep outside. Maybe these things help. I don't know. Maybe that's a boundary of yours. I don't know. I'm sure if you got reasons for it, it could be. But I think it's really actions that get people's attention. It was the actions. And you can't take those sorts of actions when you still got one foot in and one foot out. I think you have to come to some really hard realizations that people are what they are and they're presenting however they're presenting, and you're not going to change that. And it's not for lack of love of you. It's just they are making some really effing poor choices. And even when they know about those poor choices, they're unwilling to do whatever it takes to rid themselves of that. Right. And so you're kind of stuck in the middle here. And I think that you kind of have to stab yourself, as one of our guests put it, stab yourself with enough pain over a long enough period of time where you're making boundaries in a way that is healthy. And that is to keep you safe, not change them, to keep you safe. So you're making choices to protect yourself and your children, the things that are most dear to you, or your finances or your home or whatever it might be, and consequences to them be damned. You kind of have to get to that point. Like, you can't try to save someone and also save yourself. The two just don't really work at some point. Maybe early on they do, but eventually they really don't. Man, I think that I hear so many men in comment sections. I don't hear, I read so many men in comment sections. I think the number one complaint that I see from men is that all men want to feel is appreciation. Is that if we just felt a little bit of appreciation. And I have trouble with this a lot, because I'm like, who the F? What do you mean no one appreciates you? But then I don't live in their home. I'm not married to their wife. Just like I'm not your husband, they're not married to Paige. And I don't brag on Paige enough. Dude, Paige has always been my biggest cheerleader in the entire world. Like, Paige has changed the way I look at myself. She has built my self-esteem up to a level that I never could have on my own. And it's just by sharing the way that she feels about me. And it's not coming from like a performative place where she's trying to like, well, I don't know, maybe she's like some kind of like super genius manipulator where she's trying to like get the most out of me by feeding me shit. But I don't think it's what she's doing. I think she's just being sincere. I think she's just letting me know, like, you are amazing. And like, you can do so much with your life. And like, you're handsome. And like, I appreciate you. And like, you work your ass off. And like, thank you for everything that you do for us. And she's always done that stuff. Like, she's always shown me affection. Like, I'll come in the house and she'll just like compliment my shirt or the way I'm dressed that day. And I do the same for her. And like, we just appreciate one another. And I cannot imagine being in a marriage, addiction or not, where people aren't doing that for each other. I don't know what the point of being married is if that's not taking place, I guess. I don't know. It's crazy. I know that contempt is something that comes up a lot. Man, sorry if my posture starts to really get, I'm just going to lean back. We're going to get chill for a second. My back is killing me. I got injections on Friday. So if you're not watching on YouTube, where I just slouched back in this chair, I had to take a little bit of a rest. My back's wrecked. But anyway, where was I going with that? Oh yeah. There are so many couples that I hear from where there's just not a lot of appreciation in the marriage at all. He doesn't appreciate her because he feels like she's just doing her job and she sits at home and he works. Or like, what do you want to cook you for doing the bare minimum? And she feels the same way about him. And I think that that's like contempt, right? Like that's the point in your relationship where there's no more respect or admiration for one another. Like you don't really like each other. You're staying together for the kids. You're staying together because it's convenient. You're staying together because it's too expensive to get divorced. And I just personally would never be part of a marriage like that. If that's what you consider, like, is marriage is just a function to, or it's a mechanism of sorts to kind of just make life simpler for tax advantages and like for labor issues and whatever else. And it makes it affordable, I guess. But I don't know why you listen to our show, because our goal has always been to empower people to live lives of their own choosing and to strengthen relationships, whether that's with yourself or with each other. So if you're in a relationship and you don't just completely loathe the person that you're with, like, why aren't you guys appreciating one another? So I guess I have to sort of I take it with a grain of salt, but I have to believe some people just don't feel appreciation. And there might be reasons for this. And this is what I always go back to, because I just cannot imagine like not hearing it, because I'm just so used to it. Paige telling me she's proud of me telling her I'm proud of her, like just you pumping each other up. Like, you're supposed to be best friends. What are we doing here? Be nice to each other. Like, if there's anyone in the world that I want to see win, it's her. And her for me. And so I don't know. I think that I'm not here to give out participation trophies. Like I've always said, like, if you want to be admired, you want to be appreciated, like do admirable things. What a concept. Like, be nice, be kind, work hard, show up, be a good person, be a good man. And I would have to expect that there's going to be some appreciation for that. But I know that some other people have a really hard time giving compliments for a couple of reasons. One, because compliments were never given in their childhood. Like, women and men both struggle with this equally. They didn't have parents who were lovey-dovey, and they never really showed them appreciation. They never told them they were proud of them. They never said, I love you. And so to them, it just feels weird. It feels cringy. It feels awkward. And so for some other people, it's like, why would I give that compliment to you if you don't do the same for me? And we're sort of playing like the petty game, but I think some of it's also protection. Like, why would I show you that vulnerable side of me when I'm not feeling safe enough to receive it or to get it back? Like, I don't feel comfortable with that. So I know there's some reasons for it, but I think that appreciation goes a long way. I know a lot of guys want to feel appreciated, but at the same time, guys need to be doing stuff that would elicit an appreciable response from someone. Like, you can't just do the bare minimum and then be like, you should be thanking me. Are you shitting me, dude? Don't play that crap. No, sir. That's not how it works. You don't get to just show up and stand there and do the bare minimum and expect someone to like appreciate you. I mean, I guess they could for like, I don't know, if you just bring home a paycheck, like I guess that does have value, but it's like the bare minimum value. Like, how involved are you with your children, and why are you involved with the children? Because you actually care, or are you just trying to get laid? Like, their reasons matter. So yeah, show appreciation, but also do things that you ought to be appreciated for. I just don't know when it went out of vogue to be kind to one another. Like, I've heard so many women say, why would I thank him for doing what he's supposed to be doing? And my first thought is always like, well, what do you say to the waiter that comes to your table? Do you not say thank you? Like, they're just doing their job, if we're being honest about it. Like, does that require a thank you? Like, I think it does. Like, do people like to feel appreciated? Like, it keeps us going when the world gets dark. It keeps us going when things get bleak. Who doesn't like to feel that way? You know? I think if someone's trying and you don't have contempt, like, what's it going to hurt? I don't know, but I think it should be a two-way street as well. So I don't think that men are that complicated. I really do believe, I know that for me and myself, like, I know it feels really good to be appreciated. And I'm sure the listener, it feels really good for you as well. And since we're here, if no one's told you, I appreciate you, because I see what you guys do. I see all the messages, and I don't respond to many of them. I'm in the community. I'm a lurker. I see what you guys are up to. I know what you do for your children. I know the sacrifices you make for your family. I know what you do, and I don't know how you find the time for yourselves to take care of yourselves, and the books that you read and the podcasts that you listen to and the therapy that you go to and all the amazing things that you do for everyone every single day. I appreciate you. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you, and how much of an honor it is to watch you walk through that. And for the few guys that are out there that kind of let me in their lives, I appreciate you guys too. I appreciate what you're doing. I know it's tough to go out there and bust your ass in the hot sun for 10, 12 hours a day and come home and get very little time to yourself. And the time you do get, you are dedicating it to recovery and to your children and to your wives, and you get very little alone time. And this shall pass, but I appreciate you. If no one's told you, I appreciate you for what that's worth anyway. Okay. Men and their egos, man. This one's, again, it's kind of tough for me. Some of the shit I see from guys, man, just makes me think, holy shit, is this real? Did he really do that or say that? And it blows my mind. Remember the thing about egos, Freud got more work on this than anybody, but I like to think about this in a more simplistic manner. Think about, I think that generally the bigger the ego people have, the more they're protecting on the inside. I think about a narcissist, like a grandiose narcissist, like they've got this huge ego, right? They need to feel so self-important and like everyone depends on them and relies on them, and you have to eat out of their hand when they say so. And that's all just a mechanism to protect this incredibly fragile core on the inside. And I think a lot of guys are like this too. And I think that a lot of women see that tough exterior and you think, okay, well, if he can dish it, he can take it. That is rarely the case, I find. I think the people who generally take it have the most healthy sense of ego, right? Like they're humble and they have humility and they can kind of laugh at themselves. But the kind that can't are the kind you need to worry about, because when you start lashing out, humiliating them, dunking on them, being sarcastic, whatever else, even if they deserve it. And again, if we are at that point in your relationship where you're just dunking on each other because it feels good to land a good one, like what's the point anymore? Just file the paperwork. Cough, cough, Casey, as much as I love you. I think that she spends half her day just dunking, man. She's like Jordan in the 90s, loves it. And it's just like, what are we doing here, right? But I think it feels good. And when it starts to feel good to dunk on other people, that is a sign it's just probably done. But I think there are a lot of women who lash out and expect him to respond in a way that would get some kind of change, maybe drive some change. I think some people are like that, but I think that the sort of like the bigger the guy, the harder the exterior, and it's a front. It's just a front, right? I think that, again, I think that being quiet and firm, and that just hits different, man. I think that oftentimes what you're going to do is shut someone down when you go the opposite direction. Not even if they deserve it. It's not going to have the effect that you want. So like, what's your intention? If your intention is just to hurt because it feels good to hurt someone in that moment because you're just effing done, fine. But if your intention is to like get through to them or to change them, it's probably going to be rather ineffective. Unless just that the way there are some people, like I, for one, was always someone that responded pretty well to getting dunked on to drive change. Cause I'm like, oh shit, like they mean business. But you have to have humility to do that. See what I mean? Like you have to be like, oh shit, and be reflective. If you're not, you're just going to spiral or lash back out. But like Paige could call me out without turning it into a power play. She did a really good job of that. I think that anytime, again, back to boundaries, anytime you're setting boundaries, like, listen, if your boundaries have loopholes, people are going to find a way to live in those loopholes. If there's an out, they will identify it and they will take it and they will live there, and it will drive you absolutely crazy, which is why we always say, like, you have to do this for the right reason. Next question, what's the best way to support a man who's really trying without enabling them? I think you can only support people to the degree that they are supporting themselves. I stand by that. Support their effort, not their excuses. I think encouragement generally fuels progress, and I think that rescuing people sort of erases it. They have to be doing this work. You can support them to the degree they're supporting themselves, which might look like, well, okay, well, what does that actually look like? Here's what it looked like in our house. I would work, Paige is staying at home with the kids, and little kids, holy shit. Like that is so much to handle. They're clingy and needy, and they're always requiring your attention. At the same time, like you've got to feed them, and you've got to cook yourself dinner. You've got to get baths and all this stuff. And like, you need another person around. It's really helpful to have two people there. When I would get home from work, I would have to either go to IOP or I would have to go to like a meeting or something. And it was a massive sacrifice. And I recognized that for her to give me an extra hour and a half or 2 hours, because it's like 30 minutes there and back each way, plus the hour in the meeting. That's her supporting my effort in her own way. Another way she would do that is by listening to me when I would talk about this kind of stuff and actually engaging in conversation with it. That's how she supported me. It was supporting through action. She would support me by telling me she's proud of me. And she would support me with boundaries the other way, right? By not allowing bad behavior, by reminding me what good and bad were with boundaries, not so much words, but with boundaries. But she would notice change and she would affirm it, and she would never micromanage it. I think you cheer for progress, starve for pity plays, if that makes any sense. So those are some of the things those cover basically most of the questions that we get about what's going on with him. I think in general, like I said, I think Paige has always said she gets along with guys much better than girls, because they're just easier to deal with. Like, they just don't think as hard. And I think that you kind of have to look at your guy like that most of the time. Like, men have complex emotions like anyone else, but we're just not thinking as long and hard about this kind of stuff, especially when there's addiction fueled. Like, I don't know if I mentioned it, but a book by Abraham Tversky called Addictive Thinking is a good one to read if you want to kind of understand the way that the mind is working in addiction. Why it seems like someone's just trying to, like, are you trying to F with me right now? You're just driving me crazy. They're just not really thinking. It's a lack of thinking, not overthinking, that causes a lot of that stuff. Okay. Emotional growth. A lot of people struggle with this. A lot of guys, especially. And I've heard from women too, who have guys who just kind of shut down. Question was, how do you get a man to talk about something without him feeling attacked? Okay. Man, my gut answer wants to be, well, he needs to quit being a baby about it. Honestly, like, you need to be able to have emotional and mature conversations, dude. All right, first of all. But okay, if I were a woman, or if I'm me even, and I'm trying to approach a guy who I know is kind of closed off and he's going to feel attacked, I think that timing and tone matter here. Timing and tone matter. We did an episode over tone and delivery. Check that one out if you haven't already. But the synopsis of it is that it's not exactly what you say, it's how you say it oftentimes that is going to dictate the type of response that you get back from somebody. If I come at you, for instance, and I say, F, you're late again, versus, dang, a little late, I really needed your help. Which one is going to lead someone to feel less attacked? They both could, in all fairness, but which one is less likely to make someone feel attacked and still gets the point across, right? So I think you should approach conversations with curiosity, not accusations as well. Trying to understand someone. If you've never, I memorized this prayer. It's the St. Francis of Assisi prayer. One of my favorite parts of that prayer is I seek to understand rather than to be understood. And I live by that. And I walk around with that all day, every day. Like, I'm always approaching things with curiosity, like seeking to understand why people do the things they do, like what drives their behavior. And I'm very curious to understand and know that. And if you get someone in a conversation, well, the timing does matter too. Again, timing is kind of obvious, I think. Like, maybe not the second someone wakes up if they're not a morning person. Maybe not whenever you're at the school, like, play and it's quiet. Like, it's not the time for this conversation. Probably not. Not right after you've had a fight. Probably not. There's timing that matters. Be like, come on, use your head. Appropriate timing can make a difference. But approach things with curiosity. I think it's always important, because you're not coming at them like with preconceived ideas or notions, or even if you are, at least it feels to them like you're approaching it with a genuine sense of curiosity, just trying to understand where they're at. And you're going to get more honest answers that way. They're not going to frame them in such a way that are like more performative. Like, they're not going to tell you what they want to hear. If you're genuinely open to hearing about why they do the things they do. Like, hey, I noticed on the computer there was an adult website open, and I'm not even mad. I just want to know what's going on. Like, is it just, you just need to feel different? Is it something going on in our sex life? And it's kind of an addiction of itself, but it's just a common one that comes up. and listen to what comes out the other side. And maybe this is going to require more work on his part as more of his recovery to really focus on, some of the sexual impulse behaviors, which we'll get to here in a little bit. Maybe it can be, you've noticed him kind of pulling away, instead of saying like, what the hell, you're not even going to talk to me anymore, versus you seem like you've been really stressed lately. Is there something going on? Like, what's bothering you? What's up? And if they say nothing, just say, you can talk to me. Is it work? Is it your boss? Is it just all this recovery stuff? Is it just heavy? Is it just feeling like you're just being pulled in 1,000 different directions and you're only working for yourself? And you're only working for other people, not yourself. And like kind of volunteer subjects for them. And I find that people will generally grab one. And then once you get them talking about one, you generally get a conversation going. So if someone's not really sure how to open up, you kind of have to make it safe for them to do so. Paige, a lot of times she wouldn't use these exact words, but it was more like, help me understand, instead of like, why did you X? Help me understand. And careful, again, tone and delivery matter, because there's a way you can say, help me understand, that would get the opposite response. This is a question I thought was kind of interesting. Do men actually want to be emotionally supported, or does it make them uncomfortable? Yes, to both. If that makes sense. I think most men crave, they crave it. I really do. I think that we crave to be emotionally supported in some way. But I think and this isn't me again, this is not me, but I know other men have this issue where they're scared it's going to be used against them at a later date, where they feel like if they open up about their perceived weaknesses, then they're going to be used against them. And that's not nice. Don't do that to people. Like you wouldn't want that done to you. Don't do it to someone else, especially someone who's already on the fence about being open. Like how is that going to help you? Right. But I think that we all crave that. We all crave a space to feel supported emotionally, and being vulnerable enough to know that like we can just speak these things honestly, and it's just going to inform our partner, not give them ammunition to use at a later date. Like if you tell them that you have a lot of abandonment issues with your father, and then the next time that you decide to go play golf, you yell at him and say, you're just like your effing dad. And it's like, never telling you anything again. God, that hurt. Really? Like, let's not be ugly with this stuff. These are like, you wouldn't want someone to do that to you, would you? That is not nice. Not nice. Okay. Like just when someone's opening up, and I hope that they would do the same for you on the other side. If you're the woman, that this stuff it's held in confidence, and you're cherishing the fact that they would even reveal that kind of information to you. Like they're trusting you with a piece of their soul and their heart. They don't show anyone else. And that's for you to know. And that's for you to understand and to nurture and support along the way. It's not to be used in a way that would hurt them. Again, if you're just trying to dunk on people, what's the point? What are we doing together? But I think that also safety and trust have to be there for that to happen. So if you've got a long history with each other, one way or the other, or both, of really being ugly to one another, I think it feels really risky to people. And so it's not that they don't want to open up. They just don't feel like they can. And some of this may not have anything to do with you at all. Some men may have just been raised and told like, boys don't cry. Boys don't open up. You don't get to effing have feelings. You just shut your mouth and you carry on. I know a lot of men struggle with not wanting to be a burden to other people. And I completely understand that one. I feel this way all the time. Like, I don't want to be a burden to anyone. I want to be the rock for everybody. I don't know if it's a man versus a woman thing. I know there are because I know plenty of women that are exactly the same, but I just know that a lot of guys sort of identify with that one. It's like not wanting to be a burden, but that in fact generally will make you a burden at some point to other people, because that shit has to come out, right? Like, emotions buried alive never die. That stuff just gets pushed down, and eventually it's going to come out in some way, usually not in a healthy way either. They're going to come out all at once as you break down and you have an episode, or in more insidious ways, and it starts to leak out of you as you start to look for something to cope with all that pain, like addictions, whether it be alcohol or pornography or drugs or whatever have you. But I know a lot of men struggle with not wanting to be a burden. And I think that has nothing to do with you. Maybe you've been completely open and kind and sweet and supportive, but this is just sort of their training over the course of their 30 plus years on this planet. And they're going to have to be open to being okay with that identity, that it's okay to be a burden to other people. There was an episode of Modern Wisdom. Man, I do not remember the guy's name. I mean, Chris Williamson does the episodes, but he had on Mr. Olympia. God, he's like the most winning Mr. Olympia of all time. This dude is a huge, jacked, like, looks like the statue of Michelangelo or David, like Michelangelo did David, right? Yeah, statue of David. He looks like that. Like, guy's insane looking, and you would never know that he's as deep as he really is. And he was talking about like the whole point of marriage and relationships, and like what he wishes more people knew is like find someone that you can be okay being a burden to at times. And I think that's valid. Like Paige and I have been talking about this recently, let you into a little bit of our personal lives. She has felt like a burden to me because she's been struggling emotionally and mentally with a lot of different things, a lot of different ways our lives have been pulled kind of into, like, even though it's like micro niche, into the public sphere in some way. And her just having to be vulnerable and out there has affected the way that she kind of sees herself. And it's kind of changed the way that she saw her duty as a mother and as a wife. And she feels like she's just slacking in every area right now and kind of needs to recalibrate, but she feels like she's being a burden. And she feels so much shame and guilt for being a burden. And I just look at her and I'm like, I would sleep under a bridge with you if we had to. Like, I would do anything. I would walk to the end of the earth and I would carry you to do it because you would do the same for me. You're allowed to be a burden. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to carry you when you can't carry yourself because you've done it for me. And that's what we agree to do for one another. Now, we don't do it forever. Caveat there. I hope you're not thinking about this with the guy that's gone to rehab for the 27th time and doesn't care anything about seeing you or your children. We're not talking about that guy. Time to set that guy down. Let him figure it out. You walk. We're talking about people that are really trying to work on each other and help one another. But a lot of people feel like they can't be a burden to someone else. And that breaks my heart. Like, what is life? Why are there 8 billion people on the planet? Why are there so many of us if we're not supposed to connect and share our pain? Like, pain shared is pain halved, right? What's the point of having a relationship if you can't share in that you can't be a burden at times, it's okay to just not have your shit together sometimes and go through periods of life or seasons of life where you just don't have it all together, whether that's depression or anxiety, or some people have small bouts of addiction. I'm not talking about 40 years worth, but a period of time where you just need to, you're a burden to other people, and that's okay. You're loved anyway. And that's hard for some people to accept. They feel like they're only as good as the worth that they put out. And I'm only as good as, like, what have you done for me lately? I'm only as good as what I did for you yesterday. And that's not the way it works. Or it's not the way it should work, but I know a lot of men really struggle with that. So if you haven't let someone in your life know today that it's okay to struggle, please do so. And I hope that you know as well, listener. I know that our listeners struggle with that too. I know that you guys struggle with that a lot because you're the rock and you're the one who's holding everything together, and you can't be a burden because there's literally no one else to carry the weight. I just want to let you know, you deserve to have someone to pick you up and to carry you. And I hope you get that. I really do. There's no better feeling, safety, than to have that. Let's see here. We're going to kind of take a segue here into sex and intimacy. But the first question, I think a lot of guys equate this, is what does respect mean to men in a relationship? I think a lot of men equate respect and admiration and things like that to like some of the basics, like their earning power, how good they are in bed, or how often they're getting laid, how much is in their bank account, things like that. But I think that that's really surface level. I think that most people, I won't even just say men, most people just want to know that their voice matters. Even if someone disagrees that your voice matters, like, I would take you into consideration because I respect you. And that's what respect really is, right? It's not like always doing what someone tells you to do or bowing down to an authority figure. It's just knowing that you matter. I think that that's a lot of what guys are after. I don't think anyone likes to feel undermined in front of other people. And Paige has done this to me in our past, and it always hurt so bad. I would be telling a story or something like that about, it could be anything, about a fish I caught. And let's say the fish was 2 feet. But when I told the story, I would say it was 3 feet. And she would like cut me down in front of everyone and like just completely make the whole room awkward because she felt the need to like undermine me and like put me in check in those moments. I know where it was coming from. She was trying to hold me accountable, but like the way she went about it hurt. And we would have conversations about it. I'm like, I would never do that to you. Like I would let you have your fun. And then like on the way home, like I would just remind you like, hey, authenticity matters and it always wins. And that's the most attractive thing ever to me. Like no one likes to be cut down in front of other people. Like even as a manager, like I've never really ripped anyone in front of everyone else. I don't think that's the way you get across to people. I think that one-on-one shows that you respect them and that they matter and that their feelings matter. When you rip someone down in public like that, like what are we really achieving? You know, I think a lot of times some people just get to the point where they are so fed up and they're so done and they're so sick and tired of feeling small that they need to do it to someone else. And at that point, who's the bully? Right? You're the bully. Not nice. And here's a funny one. I get this all the time from guys wanting to be trusted with responsibility and not treated like another child, but at the same time, acting like a child and breaking all the trust that they ever got. Like you can't have it both ways, King. You can't have it both ways. If you want to be trusted, be trustworthy. If you want to be respected, do respectable things. Be respectful to other people, and you'll get that. You'll get that. But I think that this also comes from a place of like oftentimes in the dynamics that we are generally exposed to. Let me dance around that minefield to qualify this next statement. I think that most of the women that we hear from are doing this for valid reasons because they're having to do this shit all the time. And it's coming from a place of absolutely being fed up and frustrated. And I understand it at that point. And so the guys are really making the focus of the argument this byproduct, if you will, of their own actions. It's like, bro, it's kind of your fault that we're here and you're bitching about a symptom of something that you've created. If you want to cure it, don't worry about the symptom, worry about the root cause, which is be trustworthy, be respectful, be someone that other people could respect because you do what you say you're going to do. And you won't have any trouble. But I know that, like, I think a lot of guys, what they're saying is like, they just want more freedom. Okay, well, why'd you get married and have kids? Dude, grow up. Fucking welcome to life. That's part of it. Yeah. Dude, part of relationships, it's sacrificing. It is thinking of others before you think of yourself. That's what love is, right? It's doing for others. It's not thinking of yourself. It's being selfless. And I think a lot of people miss the memo on that. I really do. Let's see here. Okay. This is an interesting question. Do guys secretly want to be led in certain areas, or is that a turnoff? Do men want to be led in certain areas, or is that a turnoff? Dude, I think this whole like, I'm a man, I'm a leader thing, this shit is weird to me. It is so weird to me. And I know that this comes from some people's religious beliefs, like in the Christian faith, like men are basically put at the head of the family. And if that's what you believe, good for you. You might want to fast forward the next 30 seconds because I disagree. I don't see how that's a gendered thing at all. How is that? What does having this thing between your legs have anything to do with being a good leader? What? More testosterone, you said from an evolutionary standpoint, biological, because it makes you more aggressive. Well, leadership is not necessarily aggression, unless you're at war or something. But like, what about in a family? What about like when you're picking your kid's daycare or something like that? Like, what about you makes you more qualified to make decisions? It makes zero effing sense to me. I don't give a shit if you're a man or not. I think leadership is shared. And I think good marriages and good relationships, it's shared, right? There's some things that Paige is a far better leader in than I am. And there's some things that I'm a better leader in than her. And we know when it's appropriate to give up slack to each other. That's the way it works. I think that's the way any good relationship works. I think one where you've just got one person by default, not by merit, but by default leading all the time. Why? Okay. If you believe that God ordained this, then okay, fair. Keep your beliefs. But what I'm saying is, that's a silly question to me because I think that we all need to be led at times and we all need to follow at times. And sometimes we need to take charge and lead. And I don't necessarily think it's a gendered thing. Now, do some people find it attractive? Yeah, but I know some guys that also find it attractive when women take charge. Not all of them, but some do. Like there's an entire like group of like kinky, weird sex crap where guys, that's all they do is they just like like you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, like that leather stuff and the balls in the mouth. Like that's a kink for some people. So what I'm saying is that it's not just a biological thing. Men aren't just like ordained to be leaders because we're men. Like I think that it varies, right? And I think that as a man, like it is important to recognize that about yourself. And like you don't get to be in charge all the time just because you're a man. Now, if you just happen to have a certain skill set that makes you excellent at everything, good for you. I still think you need to be open to hearing from people and taking different perspectives. Like at work, like technically I'm in charge, but I don't make decisions on my own all the time. I bring in people all the time because I respect their opinions. And I think good leaders do that. So I don't think that makes any sense, but I don't know. I think that anyone should feel at times that it is important to be led in areas where they know that they're weaker. And I think that that's very appreciated by anyone with any level of humility at all. I think it's just always been so weird to me that like men are leader kind of things. It's like so weird, strange to me, very strange. And it's those same men oftentimes that are like yelling that stuff that are doing the opposite of what I think a good leader would do. It's just insane to me. Okay, talking about sex and intimacy for a moment. If this makes you uncomfortable, fast forward through it, but I'm not going to get like nasty about it. I hope you guys know me by now. I'm just going to answer these questions as best I can because this comes up all the effing time. One of the number one things I hear from men about is sex and intimacy. And we're going to talk about why I think that is. So do men see sex as connection or just a physical release? Both. I think many men struggle to express intimacy in any other way than physical intimacy. I think that that's the way that they feel like they connect. And I've kind of talked about this before, but if you think about like what sex is to the average guy, it is, you're generally having sex when things are good. Like it is the most vulnerable show of trust to another person than to do that. So when that's happening, that must mean that all these other prerequisites are met, right? They feel safe. They feel secure. They're happy with you. They respect you. They admire you. So you begin to equate that with sex. And then also, yeah, it feels good too. So I think that's part of it. And I think that a lot of people, primarily men, not to say that aren't some women sex addicts, but men happen to be the primary group of people in that category too when it comes to sex addiction and pornography addiction and things like this. Yeah, it feels good, right? The dopamine release and all that good stuff. Orgasm. Yeah. Like, and there's some people that will take that to extremes. And I used to know this dude and he would say, I like anything that makes me feel good, period. Whatever that means. Pornography, shopping, gambling, drugs, alcohol, it didn't matter, whatever it was. And so I think that when you get sober, especially like transitional addiction is something you really have to look out for because you can transition from one thing to another. But I think that in general, men overstate the importance of sex, especially when it comes to what it means to connect on an emotional level. Because for them, I think it's a shortcut to getting to that place where they feel like everything's okay without actually having to do the work to ensure that everything is okay. So when they're telling you like, I need this, like some of that might be biological, like because you have a higher sex drive. But the other part of it, I think is so much more emotional, is you're wanting everything to feel okay and you're wanting to feel needed and desired. And the only way you would feel that is if you've been respectful and you've done things that are respectable. And if all the other stuff that we've talked about that are prerequisites to that, men and women experience this differently. And so many men don't understand that. They think it's just as simple as like flipping a switch like it is for us. And it just doesn't work that way. Like our brains are literally wired differently. They are wired differently. So yeah, I think men overstate the importance of sex when it comes to connection, even though it is important for connection. But I think it really is a lot of times about that physical release, wanting to feel differently, wanting to change the way you feel and also get those feel good feelings, those warm and fuzzies that come with just being secure in a relationship. But I think that real intimacy shifts into connection over time. Early on, relationships tend to be just physical. And I think over time, you really start to truly appreciate people. I think some guys just never really get past that whole bit about expressing emotions in any other way other than physically. And they overstate it. Big time. Okay. Why do some guys pull away emotionally when their sex life isn't great? I actually had this question from a female listener. Why do some guys pull away emotionally when their sex life isn't great? I think that a lot of times sex life and the frequency of sex is tied to confidence for a lot of guys. Like it's sort of part of their identity in a lot of ways. And so when they're not getting laid, they're sort of, I'm not enough. I must not be enough. I'm not attractive enough. Maybe I don't make enough money. She's not into me. She's into someone else. And so a struggling sex life can feel like rejection as a whole, not just like the act of sex, as that makes sense, because it is overstated by men oftentimes. And personally, I've never really fallen into this bucket. And it's not, at one point I had really super low testosterone, but even then I've supplemented it. Like I'm on testosterone replacement therapy, but I'm not, you can ask Paige, I promise you, I'm not insane about this. Everyone's got a different drive for this kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. I don't know. I don't think so, but I know that there's some dudes that just like, even I can't really talk to about it. I'm like, dude, that's kind of weird. Really? Like you're kind of like, you might need to get this checked out. Like you could have a problem. Like when they're talking about this, like this is a much bigger deal to you than I think it ought to be. And I wonder how much of this is like either the lack of equating like desire with something deeper going on in them. Like I'm not enough and like filling this hole inside of them. Or if it is actually that they've just got a crazy high libido. I don't know. But I know that a lot of guys equate their worth as a man or as a person, I should say, as a person with how much sex they're getting. It's common. And the thing that kind of makes this tough, especially in early recovery or in addiction, is that you're probably not doing this a lot as a couple because there's a lot of lying and deceit and funds are missing. And maybe you're just not physically able to because of some of the substances you're taking. And so that's kind of removed from your relationship and you don't have this ability to really even do it as much, or you really don't want to. And so it just causes a whole host of other problems. Sex, no doubt, can bring couples together and make you feel closer. But I think there are right ways and wrong ways to go about this. And there are right ways to use, to experience sex together as a couple. I think that some people can just really use this as like a shortcut to, as a proxy to having an actual healthy relationship, if that makes sense. I kind of asked this question on my own, and I'm not sure if it's rhetorical or not, but what makes a man feel truly desired in a relationship? I think, for me anyway, this has always been about, I'm not even sure if I want to answer this honestly, but I think I'm going to have to now since I brought it up, and I really hate editing. I'm not going to edit this shit out. Man, I think that it's about feeling desired, but not in the way that it sounds, not in like a physical way. Like, I want to get to know you. I like the way you operate, the cut of your jib, if you will. Making someone laugh, like there's no better feeling than that. But I know for a lot of other guys, it's not that stuff. I know a lot of other guys equate whether or not that they're desired in a relationship by how often their like wife may initiate or something like that. I think that's just very surface level. Not to say that there aren't some issues with couples there. Listen, there's a million issues. I am not a sexual expert by any stretch of the imagination. And so I'm not even going to try to pretend like I know what I'm talking about here, but I just know that I've heard it enough times to know that the average bloke is going to say that that's a problem. But I think that there are probably reasons for it. But I think just in general, like genuine enthusiasm for your partner and not feeling like you're obligated to be there with them is like, you can tell the difference. Like we've always said, like you can tell, authenticity when you see it. And so I think that truly feeling desired is about that kind of stuff for me anyway. And I think that most guys would probably agree with that. It's about feeling like needed, and desired in the sense that like, I need you in my life. I want you in my life. Like I'm better with you. You complete me kind of thing. As opposed to just like the physical pieces of that. I think it's just a smaller piece of the puzzle for me, man. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to get into some of these, man. Like some of these questions that guys ask, I feel like they're putting the cart before the horse. Some of them are about like, is it true that like men's sexual needs change as they grow emotionally? I think that that's a runaround question of like every one of these, I feel like it's just a secret way of guys just trying to get more sex. And they're just asking questions to get me to say that. And so I'm not giving it to them. I'm not answering that. The next section of questions are for the listener that is ready to walk away. And if you have not listened to the episode that we did recently, I think it was called A One Woman Story, How to Leave, something to that effect. It was recent, the last month or so. Really, really good episode. Really, really good episode. Because there are a lot of people that have done that and our show has not provided them with a lot of validation or like surety that like you probably made the right choice. But there's this question that we get a lot. And I think that without even asking, without realizing it, they're asking the question is that if you leave, is that going to be the thing that wakes them up? Possibly. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But you should never do it because you think it will. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Never leave someone performatively hoping that they get sober, because you're probably going to be disappointed and then you're going to end up right back in that situation. And then in doing that, they're never going to take you seriously again if you haven't followed through on your quote unquote threat, and it's not going to be good. They're going to hear that and see your actions, and they're going to be like, she's not serious. I can get away with whatever I want. Maybe not realizing that that's what they're actually taking from it, but sort of subliminally, that's the message that you convey. But I really do believe that when you lose access to someone else's softness, like to be in a relationship with someone is to get access to a part of them that no one else gets. And I'm not talking about sex, guys. I'm talking about that emotional vulnerability, like the inside jokes, that connection, man. Like that's for you and you alone. That's the part of them that only you get. And when you lose access to that, that hurts in a different kind of way. But it can only happen genuinely. Like there's a look in your eyes that you get when you're done. And every guy knows that look, and you can't fake it. So if you're trying to leave just to get someone healthy, wrong reasons, man. Because if you're not done, you're going to go back and you're going to send the message to them that they can keep getting away with it. That's the risk you run. Maybe it works, but I've never heard of it working. I've heard of many more relationships where someone absolutely was done and they walked, and then that person got healthy. And sometimes they get back together and sometimes they don't, but they had to be done first. And so it was like they had to start all over and kind of start dating again. And some of those relationships work great, man. I've seen some of them and they're like madly in love and they're really healthy and they're great and like long sobriety. I've seen others where they walked away and the person got way worse and damn near killed themselves, or maybe did. And then the other person went on to live a happy life, obviously grieving the loss of that relationship or that person, but they're healthier and they're in a safer place because of it. And that's just the truth of it. Can you love someone and still know you have to let them go? Yes, you absolutely can. Love does not equal healthy or safe necessarily. I think love is just love. Like the heart wants what it wants, man. You can love someone deeply and still know that you have to walk away. And your heart will always have a little piece of them. And they will be like, heard it put one time, it's almost like you have a book. The book is your life. And there will be a dog-eared chapter or two of them. And you will always remember fondly those times. But you also know that the story has to continue and there has to be new chapters. And that's kind of the way it works. I think you absolutely can. You can love someone deeply and truly, and it's still not enough. If love was enough, man, there wouldn't be any problems in the world. It's not about love. It's about actions. It's about commitment. It's about what we're willing to actually do. And has nothing to do with love. Love is just the feeling you get, you know? And I think a lot of times too, man, I think that what gets people here is potential. It's the potential. It's like, man, what if they finally get it? What if they grow up and be this amazing person and I don't get that person? I think that it rarely happens. It does happen, but it rarely happens. But I think usually what you're getting, like what hopium actually is, it is a projection of what you would do if you were in their shoes. And I think that when you're looking at it that way, you have to really separate you from them. It's like you're projecting what you would do in their shoes onto them. You're layering it on top of this person without understanding that they have their own set of beliefs and ideas and actions and tendencies. And they're showing you who they are. And the more you try to layer on what you would do onto them, the more you're going to be heartbroken. And it's also kind of paradoxical because the more you're going to hold on. And so that's what's tough, is that at some point you have to break that and say, okay, they are who they show me they are, not who they say they are, but who they show me they are. And they are not ever going to do what I would do. And that breaks my heart. Therefore, these are the reasons I have to walk, right? I think that fundamental incompatibility is something that we've almost forgotten about as we talk more and more about like attachment styles and all these different things that people can research and spend hours and hours of time on trying to cure their attachment style. And we've removed the language from basic incompatibility. Like we have different values. We think different things are important. We don't really get along. We're not compatible. And you can try to hammer that round peg into that square hole all day long, and it doesn't make it fit. And I think that's what people do a lot of times when they're trying to stick around and hope that someone figures it out. And you're not wrong for it either. I will say that. Like, listen, like our show and in our community, we're going to love you regardless of what you choose to do. I just hope that you recognize that, because there's so much spent energy and years of your life that you're never going to get back as you're watching this person and projecting what you would do in their shoes. Just pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to the patterns. Pay attention to their actions. That's who they are. And that's a tough thing to accept for a lot of people. Let's see. What would you say to a wife who's afraid she'll regret walking away, but also afraid to keep staying? I think I just kind of answered that. I've heard from enough people now to know, though, that regret oftentimes comes from staying in limbo for as long as they did, not from making a decision. I think regret oftentimes comes from more indecision than it does actually making a decision one way or the other. Like picture your life 5 years from now. If nothing changes, how does that actually feel? Ask yourself that question. And I think you kind of have to be honest with yourself about it too. And if nothing changes, how do you feel? If your answer is miserable, then you know the decision you need to make. If your answer is pretty good right now, then I think you can feel good about that decision. I really do think it's that simple. I think that we get the heart wants what the heart wants, right? And when emotions are involved, like this stuff gets heavier than just logic and reason. Let's talk about raising kids for a second. We got 2 more of these and I've already gone on for an hour. Oh my God, I can talk. And this is ridiculous. I'm sorry, guys. If you're still here with me at this point, y'all are the best. Thank you for hanging out with me. Raising kids while he's still failing. This is what this section is about. It's about children. What kind of damage does it do to kids when a dad isn't stepping up? Massive damage, in my opinion. Massive damage. Your kids will ultimately model their own relationships later in life over what they witnessed in the home. This is a big part of the reason that I wanted to get better for myself, was because we had children. And I knew that I had a daughter, a little girl. I wanted more than anything in the world. I knew we'd have boys because my family's nothing but boys on my side, and hers is too. I wanted a little girl. And I wanted to have a little girl because I wanted to set a standard that was so high that she could only fall into a relationship that she deserved. And that's what I try to do every day as a father when I show up, is to give them a standard of what it is to treat their mother and what it is to step up in the home and carry domestic labor as well as outside labor and the professional world, and the different things that you have to do, and how to open up and be vulnerable and emotional and playful and also serious at times, like all the different sides of what it is to be a guy. And that stuff is so freaking important. We have a generation now that has never really known this because there's so many men that are absent from that role. And we're seeing the effects of it. We're seeing the effects of it already. So your kids are going to normalize chaos. They're going to carry it into their own relationships one day. And I think you have to really protect your kids from this. Like, I think this is when it gets really, really effing serious. Someone else in the community had a really good insight recently, because a lot of people have such a bare minimum standard of what it is to be a good dad. And they're always saying, oh, they're such a good dad. They're such a sweet dad. They're an amazing father. And she called bullshit. She said, you cannot be a drug addict or an alcoholic or addicted to anything, treating the mother the way that they do and be a good dad at the same time, because that's all inclusive. That's the same stuff. You can't compartmentalize it and just remember this one moment where they were wrestling with the kids on the carpet and it was so cute and think that's a good dad, versus spending all the family's finances, never being able to show them what it means to be responsible financially as a man, never showing them what it means to display emotions in a healthy way rather than numbing them out. Like, you can't pull the two apart, right? So we want to really romanticize what it is to be a good dad. And what it really is just a bare minimum standard. The bar is so low, you can't trip over it at that point. And I loved her insight in saying that you can't be all these awful things and also be a good dad. And I agree with that 100%. 100%. I love that insight. I think that was spot on, man. Spot on. So yeah, this is when this shit gets serious, really serious. You have to consider, and I know that there are so many, listen, family is important. I think that having 2 parents in the home is obviously better than having 1 parent in the home. except when there is abuse. And we talk about abuse and the Bancroft definition of abuse, which is someone that devalues, chronically devalues, or what is it? Oh my God, I always screw this up. Chronically mistreats or devalues their partner. Mistreats or devalues. I need to write that on the wall right there. I always blank right when we get here. That's what abuse is, right? Mistreating or devaluing somebody. So in that sense, a lot of stuff is abuse adjacent, maybe not exactly what we think of as like traditional abuse, like breaking holes in the walls and slamming pottery or whatever else it might be. But then you have to really consider, like, I have to protect the future of our home and our children. Are they better off not being exposed to this stuff and just having one healthy parent, one safe parent? And I think that, yeah, because I've heard from enough people, like, for as many advocates there are about like 2-parent households are better, and there are studies that have really looked at this. And I'm really interested in those studies too, because I want to see them studied with addiction in homes with addiction, and not just 1 versus 2 parents. You know, having a father in the home versus a father in the home that's abusive, like which one's better for the kids long term? Because we know that generally without a father present at home, kids end up in jail. They have more issues with addiction, self-harm, more likely to like be murdered. Like, there's all kinds of horrible stats around it. But I want to know some of the ancillary things that we're not really looking at, like self-esteem, their ability to manage emotions as they get older, when they've been removed from an abusive environment. I'm really curious to see that kind of stuff. I would venture to guess with my dumb little head that it's better to have at least one safe parent than an abusive home where the safe parent is then being led to be someone that they don't want to be. Does that make sense? Like how like bad apples can infect other ones, like that. Remove the toxicity, and like, I still think it's better having one versus like a toxic environment. That's just my take on it. It's my take, because I've heard from a lot of people that were like, no one talks about the fact that like my mom got me out of a really bad situation, and I'll forever be thankful, and I wouldn't be the person I am today if she hadn't have done that. And that's the truth for a lot of people that no one wants to talk about, because that's not sexy. Like that doesn't propagate the population. That doesn't build more like, old school values in this country. Whatever the reasons, like, listen, family has benefited me like greatly. Marriage as an institution has benefited me and my wife greatly. But I don't think that it's always the case that it's better. I think that's stupid. Of course there's going to be nuance. Of course there's going to be nuance. Do you wish Paige would have done something sooner for the kids' sake? No, not in our situation, because our daughter was 9 months old. I think that, like, I could drag her in right now and I would say, like, hey, have you ever seen me act a fool or like drink or anything else? She'd be like, no. Like, are you scared of me in the slightest? And she would probably make a mean joke at me and call me a gorilla and walk off and laugh, because she has zero fear of me. I think that we were getting there, though. I think we were getting there. I don't know what that is. I would like to get with the childhood development. Someone who studies that, like some academic on the show one day, and really talk about the effects of this. I would love to do that. And if you know of any authors or someone we could reach out to get on the show, please do, because I have millions of questions for them. Can a kid still turn out okay even if their dad never changes? Yes, absolutely. One healthy, safe parent can break the cycle. We're going to have Annie Parker on soon. She will tell you that story. She did this very thing. I think that's all I've got. Let me see if there's any other questions. What do you do now that you have never done before? Some of these are more like for another time, maybe for a Monday mindset episode. Plus, we're like an hour and 15 minutes in, and I don't think you have much left in you. Nor do I. So we're going to wrap it up with that. I hope it's been helpful. This is a 2-part series, and I'll get on something else, totally different topic next week. We'll talk about something else, hopefully relevant to you. I've wanted to sort of put all the questions that we get into an easy to find place, so I could always go back and reference them, and that you could also go back and reference them, whether you have the question for the first time or whether you need to be reminded of a question, because at times it is easy to forget how bad things have gotten, and we need to hear those truths over and over and over. And it can be helpful at times to just hear them again. So now you've got 2 episodes where you've got all kinds of information covering everything from addiction and rebuilding your life to intimacy, you name it, right? You name it. It's all there. And I hope it's been helpful for you. I enjoy doing these things with you guys. I do miss Paige. It's much easier to have a conversation with her than it is to sit here and talk to a camera and, read questions. She's the star of our show, man. And She will be back. I promise you that, because I ain't going to do this forever by myself. But I'm going to hold down the fort as long as I can, as long as I have to for her, until she's healthy. So if that means I'm doing this for a month, I'm doing this for a month. If that means I'm doing this for 6 months, I'm doing it for 6 months. We'll probably lose some listeners. But also, hey, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need your help. If I'm going to be doing more of this stuff on my own, I need to hear more from you guys about the kinds of things that you would like me to discuss and the kinds of things that you would like me to talk about. I think it's what people have, like, I know I'm self-aware enough to know like what value I bring to the show. And it's having been on the other side and being the addicted person and having two perspectives on it. One, what it was like in it, what that was like. And then two, what it's like on the other side of it. And I guess third, like what it took to get through it. And there's a lot of other things that come with that, right? There's like fatherhood. There's actually addiction recovery. Some people have asked me about spirituality and doing an episode on that. Maybe even discussing the different ways that people get sober. Anything that involves that. Like I know that so many people have questions about their partner's process that they're not able to discuss. And maybe I can answer some of those questions. And I would love to do that. I've also got plans to bring on maybe some guests that are relevant that I could just talk to. Because some of the better guests, like Annie, she will be on when Paige gets on. I do not want to talk to her without Paige. I don't think that would be doing the episode justice at all. But there's some other people I would love to have one-on-ones with. Maybe even some other people that are in recovery to get their takes on things. So you're not just hearing it from me, you're hearing it from someone else that I think has really healthy recovery. I think that could be really cool. But if there's anything else that you guys like me to discuss, I'm happy to do that. That's what I'm here for. Like think of me as your little puppet. You get to tell me what to talk about and then I'll decide if I want to talk about it or not. All right, that's all I got. Until next time, I'm Matt and we'll see you.